Hello friends, it's Crispi from the Saskatoon Public Library, here on Treaty 6 territory for grown-up story time. Now, I want to tell you a story today that's not for kids. Although entertainingly enough, my little cousin was accidentally shown it, a film version of it, by a babysitter one time. It wasn't me. Not for kids, grown-up story time. It also has a song. Last week we did, maybe you figured it out. It was Jaws. It's a pretty good storytelling version of Jaws. In case you haven't watched it, you should go back and watch last week. Anyways, today we're going to tell a story that has this song with it. Maybe you know this story. I'm going to tell you because you're going to figure it out pretty quick. Maybe you recognize the music. Once upon a time, there was a couple of paleontologists. Well, actually, a paleontologist and a herbologist. Anyways, they're digging up dinosaur bones. And you know who shows up at their dig site? Let me tell you. It's the billionaire who's funding the whole project. And he says, hey man, I've developed this amusement park on this island, and I want you to come and sign off. Tell the lawyers it's safe. It's fine. They can bring the kiddos. They can sell us insurance. It's all good. They say, no way in heck, we're busy digging up dinosaur bones. This is important work. Well, he says, I'll fund you for the next 5 years. Well, scientists are like artists. We're very happy to get cash. They say, okay, and they jump in the helicopter. And off they go. In the helicopter, there is going to this island this weekend for this very special trial run of the park to sign off and say that it's perfectly safe are a chaos theory guy, a chaos theorician. I can't say that for a whole story time. A chaos dude, a paleontologist, a herbologist. Her name is Ellie, and this is Dr. Grant, and of course the billionaire and a lawyer. 5 of them in the helicopter. I'm assuming there's also a pilot. We never really see him. It's fine. There's probably also a co-pilot. Not important to the story. Anyways, they land on the island, and they get in the little Jeep to go over to the visitor center. So they're going along. Suddenly, Dr. Grant looks out the window, the paleontologist, and he says, what? I think he says it just like that. But what? Because out the window is, now you know it, dinosaurs. Those long-necked ones and some running ones. They all got fancy names. What am I supposed to remember them all? Brontosaurus, they used to be called when I was little. I think they're called something else now. Anyways, they climb out and they look, and there is Jurassic Park. I guess we're out of a job. Just kind of like artists in COVID. Anyways, so, dinosaurs. How'd you do this? What? How? What? And again, but what? Well, they go to the visitor center. At the visitor center, they watch a little movie that tells them all about how dinosaurs came back to life. The billionaire, having all the money to do so, well, he collected all of the mosquitoes from the dinosaur period who had landed into the tree sap and been turned, the tree sap had turned into amber with the mosquito inside of it, and they took out the DNA from the dinosaurs because clearly the mosquitoes had been biting dinosaurs. I'm not sure how they didn't end up with a whole bunch of other miscellaneous animals, but whatever. Science is not part of this, it's a story. They have dinosaur eggs right there. And no problem taking care of these animals, and there's going to be no problem controlling them because we made sure they're all girls. Oh, we did use a bit of frog DNA to make sure that, you know, there were some holes in the DNA. We had to fix that. Anyways, not really important right now. Meanwhile, back on the mainland, the whole system is automated. It's not automated from the mainland. I don't mean to confuse you. It's automated from the visitors center. But the guy who set up the whole automation system, Ned, let's just call him Ned. Well, Ned is an IT guy, which means he probably has a lot of student debt. I don't know why it means that, but anyways, for some reason he's working for a billionaire making dinosaur parks, and he doesn't have enough money. That's his story. It's another story for another day. Anyways, good old Ned. Well, he is going to sell those embryos to the competitors for $12 million. And anyways, so he's got a little plan. He's going to, circumvent the security systems and get himself 12 embryos to take to the competition to get his $12 million. There you go. That's his plan. Meanwhile, back at the park, he gets back to the park just when everybody else is getting there, and they're all hanging out. It's wonderful. It's lovely. They're going to take the tour. Oh, the scientists are going to take the tour. The billionaire is going to stay in the visitors center. And but he will send along his grandchildren, a little girl and a little boy. Well, they're not that little. They're medium-sized people. Anyways, one is a little dinosaur nerd. He loves Dr. Grant. And the other one is a little computer nerd. And she just, she's happy enough to be there, I guess. So off they go. Out of the visitor center into the cars. And down the street. Well, all the paddocks they stop at. Darn it, if those dinosaurs can't be seen. Because just like any safari, often the animals, they don't want to participate. They hide in the wilderness. Well, real exciting tour. The chaos theorist also asks if there's going to be dinosaurs on this tour at some point. On the dinosaur tour. Will there be dinosaurs? Ugh. Meanwhile, back inside the control center where everything is run from, little old Ned, he starts his program that's going to get him through the security to steal his 12 embryos for his $12 million. Off he goes. He's going for lunch. He's going for a snack. It's his little ploy. But he shuts off the security systems, and he gets those embryos and gets in his Jeep and heads for the docks. But, of course, there's a tropical storm brewing. Wouldn't be a good story without a tropical storm. Night is falling. Tropical storm is hitting. Oh, wait a minute. Just before that happens, they do actually see a dinosaur on this tour. It's a triceratops, and it's really sick, so the herbologist goes with the local doctor to try and figure out what's happening to the dinosaur. Anyway, so she ends up back at the visitor center. But everybody else is still in their cars, out at the tour, on their way back because the tour is canceled, clearly tropical storm. So they're coming back. But in circumventing the security system, Ned has shut down the control electrified fences that keep the animals in. Because he has to get to the docks through those electrified fences. He's in a car driving and it's pouring rain, and the other guys, they're stopped. Their whole automated tour has stopped right in front of the T-Rex compound. Something big. Wait. Something big is coming. Oh dear. Well, the lawyer freaks out and he starts running. But you know what T-Rexes like to do? They like to chase things that run. In theory. I've never seen one myself. Anyway, so it chases... it sees the lawyer coming and it checks out the car, and the car has the two little kids in it. Luckily, the two scientists, the paleontologist and the chaos theory dude, they're in the other car. Well, the car with the kids, well, they're shining a flashlight and screaming and freaking out, which, of course, the dinosaur wants to eat them. So the paleontologist jumps out and waves a flag. Hey, over here! It's actually a torch. Anyways, waves it and he says, over here. Well, so does the mathematician. He wants to be a hero too. He waves, over here, but he keeps holding on to that torch and he's running around and the dinosaur chases him and smashes down the little cabin where the lawyer has happened to take shelter, which happens to be sitting on a toilet. Oh, poor lawyer. Anyways, the building is crashed down. There's the lawyer shrieking and screaming, and he is not long for this world, I'm afraid. He becomes a dinosaur snack. He was delicious. But those kids and the paleontologist are still in the middle of the road. The paleontologist is trying to get the kids out of the car, but the car's a little smashed up from being attacked by a dinosaur. One kid is stuck in the car. The other one's with the paleontologist, and they climb over the edge to get out of the way, and the car goes over the edge, and it gets caught in a tree, and the dinosaur takes off. Back at the visitor center, the billionaire says to his head of animal welfare, you know, Hunter guy with a gun. Anyways, he says to Hunter, he says, can you go and get my kids? And Ellie says, I'll go with you. So off they go in a Jeep to go and get the kids. Meanwhile, Ned, with those embryos, he gets lost. So he's taken the long way to the boat for the mainland, which has been leaving, and we're hearing announcements about it, of course, the whole time. It's very dramatic. Anywho, away he goes, back at the T-Rex paddock. They have to get the kid out of the tree, out of the car. Up the tree. Get the kid. Out of the tree they climb. And off they go. Luckily they have a map. They can follow back to the visitor center. They're going to cut across because now they know all of the fences are off. Off they go. Well, meanwhile, Ellie and the hunter show up at the T-Rex paddock to save the kids, only the kids are gone. And the car is smashed up, and one car is missing, the other car is sitting there, I guess. Anyways, and there's bits of the lawyer everywhere. Oh, but they find the mathematician, or the chaos theorist, and he is injured, but he'll live. Anyways, they get him loaded up in their electric Jeep. Or, I mean, their diesel Jeep. The other ones are electric. That's why they're not going anywhere. They get him in the diesel Jeep, and the T-Rex chases them back to the visitor center. But they can drive faster. I guess the T-Rex clocks out at 35 miles an hour. So away they go. Whew. Well, meanwhile, that tropical storm proves to be too much for Ned and his Jeep driving skills. So he skids off the road and has to climb out of the Jeep. Well, wouldn't you know it? He happens to find a dinosaur on this dinosaur island, on this Jurassic Park. Well, it spits in his eye, and I don't know about you, but I don't want to get spit at by dinosaurs, especially ones who have acid spit. It blinds him and eats him. Goodbye, Ned. And those embryos he's carrying, buried in the mud. Gone. No more espionage. So that's good. No dinosaurs off the island. So, meanwhile, back at the visitor center, they figure out the only way to reboot everything is to switch the breaker. So, they do that. But the generator buttons have to be pressed, and they're in a whole different building. Why, you may ask? I will tell you why they're in a different building, because it wouldn't be as dramatic if they were in the same building. Anyways, the other guy who's there, the backup computer guy, well, he knows what has to be done, so he's going to go to the other building and reboot things. Meanwhile, I bet you're wondering what's happening to Dr. Grant and those kids. They're fine. They climb a tree. They're going to sleep the night away because of the tropical storm. They'll be fine. They're in a tree. You're always fine in a tree. Just ask a monkey. Anyways, visitor center, second in command computer dude, he goes off and they're waiting. They're waiting for the power to come back on. You see, the reason they needed to reboot the systems is to get the fences back online, but mostly to get the phones online, because they can't get off the island without the phone, because the boat's gone. They need the helicopter. They need to send in the troops. All panic, all chaos has ensued. Well, forget that guy. He's not coming back. I don't know what happened to him, but he's not turning things on. Second team goes out. It's the Hunter and Ellie. They go out to find it. But in rebooting the system, they did the one thing that Ned didn't do. And that is they turned off the fences to the raptor enclosure. In case you don't know what a raptor is, it's a very dangerous dinosaur. Slightly bigger than a person, terrible, sharp back claws that it likes to disembowel people. It also likes to hunt in a pack. One will catch your eye and the other two will grab you and disembowel you. So that's what's on the loose now. So off they go down the path. The hunter spies one of those raptors and takes aim, and Ellie runs for the shed. In she gets, she shuts the door behind her. She finds the right buttons to press. She presses those buttons. The power comes back on. The phones come back on. But there's the remains of Computer Man number 2. Disemboweled. Because also in that building is a velociraptor. So she runs back down the path where the hunter is clearly dead, and she runs back to the visitor center. Meanwhile, Dr. Grant returns to the visitor center with the children, because by now it's morning. The children go inside to eat ice cream. But you know who else is inside? Velociraptors. So they sneak into the kitchen. They hide. But those velociraptors can open the door. Because they don't have like those round doorknobs. They've got those like handle type, which are way easier if you're having any sort of issues with your hands and wrists. They're great for the disabled, the children, all that wonderful things. But unless you want to keep people out, then they're horrible. If you want to keep raptors out, don't put those in. Just FYI when you're building your next house and you're worried about velociraptors. Anyways, velociraptors are in the kitchen. The kids are in the kitchen. They manage to knock one out and lock the other one in the freezer. Don't ask me how, it's very complicated. So they come shrieking out just in time for Dr. Grant and Ellie to find them. But wait, there's still one more velociraptor, and it chases them into the sciencey room, the room with all the computers. And they're holding the door shut because the stupid handles and all the locks are computerized, so they can't lock the door. Luckily, one of the kids knows computers. So she gets on the computer and she's click-clacking away while the adults are holding the door shut. Keep that velociraptor out. Get the phones back online. Bring! The phone's online. The door's locked. Yes, the day is not saved. Because now they're coming through the windows. Quick, climb up through the rafters. Climb out of the building. The only way out is down the display of the dinosaur bones, where the velociraptors are waiting, and attack, and encircle the children and the adults. They're not getting out of this. There's no way out. Until the T-Rex shows up. Didn't see that coming. The T-Rex attacks the velociraptors because raptors are bigger than people, more delicious. That's clearly who you would eat first. Who cares what the velociraptors are eating? That's just a tidbit. They attack the T-Rex attacks the velociraptors attack the T-Rex, the people sneak out, and there is a Jeep waiting with the Chaos Theorician and the billionaire, and they go running off to the waiting helicopter. The poor billionaire. looks fondly and affectionately at the island that was going to be his greatest work. The paleontologist is grateful he still has a job, because dinosaurs are a bad idea. Unfortunately, they don't figure that out for a few more movies. Anyways, that's for you to explore at the library, perhaps. There's also books that have great versions of these, because the books are original, and I think they probably tell a lot more detail than I did in those 15 minutes of Jurassic Park. Thank you for joining me for Grown Up Storytime. I hope you had fun. I know I did. I'll see you next time.